Hey there, how's it going? I'm going to put on the mask and my helmet, and we'll take a short city bike ride through Prospect Heights, Brooklyn, and Park Slope in Brownstone, Brooklyn. I always like the name of this place, the Little Cupcake. We're in Prospect Heights on the main commercial street in Prospect Heights, Brooklyn, Vanderbilt Avenue. We're going to take this up to Grand Army Plaza and then do a quick tour of Park Slope and show you some of the typically beautiful neighborhoods here in Brownstone, Brooklyn. It's July 10th, 2020. And we're expecting like a monsoon tropical storm that's supposed to start in an hour. So I wanted to get this bike right in before a 100% chance of rain today. I think this weekend's supposed to be nice, but today is supposed to be a washout. So a lot of these two neighborhoods were built in the late 1800s. Victorian architecture, as well as Art Deco, which was built in the 20s and 30s and 40s. So this is a big circle. Flatbush Avenue, which is the main street of Brooklyn. Look down Flatbush a little bit, and as soon as we cross Flatbush, we'll be in Park Slope. I'll take you down some of the main, this is the Montauk Club. I once went to a wedding here, beautiful. My dad used to go there, I think a long time ago, back in the day. I think they also have a health club that he went to. So, a lot of older high-rise apartments along here. And then we'll get up to Prospect Park West and go down that a bit. People know that at least if they don't, if they mind running in the rain or riding in the rain, that you should get out now. Well, it's still dry. So this is the main branch of the Brooklyn Public Library. we'll go on the bike path on the other side of the street. This is Prospect Park over here to my left, and it's designed by the same designers as Central Park in Manhattan. We'll take a quick look in there. Beautiful houses. Looks like one is going to go under renovation there. That is one tricked out van. The street's closed here for pedestrians. Part of the city's open streets program during the pandemic. You can still get your car in and out, but it's mostly for pedestrians. Beautiful side streets. That's 2nd Street. We'll go in the park here at 3rd for a little bit. The park is usually closed during much of the day to cars. In the past, they have let them use it during rush hour. A lot of people out running and walking. It's like a 3.5 mile loop around the park. And there's meadows inside. That's a picnic house. I also went to a wedding there. This will just give you a little taste of Prospect Park. But like I said, they have meadows where you can play sports or just lay out. And there's also, not this year, but in the past, there's summer concerts. Here's some meadow action. Yeah, I see a sign for the band shell. That's where the concerts are held, down towards the southern end of the park. There's the band shell. The shows often are sold out, but you could still sit out farther away and still hear faintly. right here and get back to Park Slope. You can see the clouds look a little ominous. They say it's going to be like a tropical storm. It's sort of like a sub-hurricane. Hurricane season doesn't really start this early. Usually waits till September. But the climate is changing. Alright, so we're all the way down at 15th Street. We'll go around this circle here at, see some of the Windsor Terrace neighborhood. This is an old movie theater that they've toyed with reopening. Maybe it was reopened at one point, but it's closed again now. These aren't technically brownstones, but they're that style, same style. Squeeze in through here. An armory. It was used for storing military, National Guard equipment, vehicles. Lately it's been used more for a homeless shelter. Beautiful temple across the street. Park Slope Jewish Center. Nice Victorian school here. This area is referred to as the South Slope. We're on 8th Avenue. Anything below 9th Street is considered South Slope. Here's little neighborhood restaurants and bars. One thing I've noticed, I used to live in this neighborhood, is the whole area is really beautiful in the snow. If you ever are here in the winter and you're walking along in a snowstorm, it's just magical. It really suits the architecture. We're going through some lights and there's no cars present. Really, you're not supposed to do that in New York. You can get a ticket for it. I have gotten a ticket once for leaving before the light turned green, and I didn't argue the ticket, but it was $175, so, which is the same price for a car running a red light, so bear that in mind. I'll squeeze in through here. We'll go down 9th Street to 7th Avenue. We'll sort of zigzag through Park Slope just to give you a flavor of both the commercial and the residential parts of it. Much of this was built in the late 1800s. It coincided with the opening of the Brooklyn Bridge in 1883, so that really opened up Brooklyn to being more of a place you could live and get to Manhattan. Alright, so we'll go down 7th Avenue. This is the main street of Park Slope. We'll also go down 5th Avenue. It's like the second main avenue of Park Slope with restaurants and stores. Fortunately, Park Slope didn't see the looting that occurred in other neighborhoods, especially in Manhattan, but it's a high-end area. This is New York Presbyterian Brooklyn Methodist Hospital. Very busy hospital. B67 bus is what takes you here from downtown Brooklyn to Park Slope. There's also subway lines at both ends, on the north and south ends, to get here. And this is a high school that my uncle went to. My dad went to a different high school. They grew up in Brooklyn. They were born in Scotland, but the family immigrated here in like 1920. So they grew up in Brooklyn during the heart of the Depression. So my dad never had very good memories of New York because they were poor and they moved from place to place. It's a new building that fits right in with the older architecture. Beautiful job. Here at 3rd Street, look up typical beautiful brownstone block, residential block from 7th Avenue. I think we can go. We'll go up to one of my old streets. I lived in 3 different places in Park Slope. We went by one already, 14th Street in the South Slope, and then I lived in 2 places in the regular slope up here. This is the local grade school. I once saw Jesse Jackson speak here outside when he was running for president back in the 80s. Drew a huge crowd. There's another typical block going up the slope, 1st Street, and then panning around to 7th Avenue. Okay, we'll go up one more block and then I'll show you where I used to live. Beautiful building, beautiful block. Stores are still closed now. I mean, they'll open up later. And restaurants. Okay. There's another Hungry Ghost over in Fort Greene. It always has a line out the door. This place is pretty popular too. So I lived right near this corner, across from this beautiful set of buildings here that we looked out on. And I never got tired of the view. Nicely redone. In both buildings they did what I'll show you they did here with where we live. I lived in this building. It's actually, there were separate buildings, and what they did is they created one entrance and then built hallways through each floor of the buildings. It's pretty neat way they did it. And we lived right up here on the top right hand corner, and we had a roof deck, so we had one set of stairs up to a loft and then another half set of stairs up to the roof. And we had a great view of lower Manhattan. It's Statue of Liberty, and we could look out across this set of buildings, and I never got tired of it. And we had an elevator, which from previous experience is nice to have. I lived in another building about that tall, stuck it from the top floor, and I went up and down the stairs all the time. Great exercise, but can be a hassle after a while, especially if you're carrying laundry. At least in that building I just showed you, we had a laundry in the basement, which is key. Alright, let's cross here before the light changes. I wanted to take you up to one more little point of interest. There's nothing to indicate what happened there, but I'll tell you what happened. Park Slope also has many beautiful churches like this, tall steeples, and real estate stores, and banks. Another beautiful block, President Street. It's hard to say. It's like a 100-way tie for nicest block. Park Slope is one of the nicest neighborhoods, not only in Brooklyn, and not only in New York City, but also in the whole country. It's just has a historic designation. Union Street, busy cross street. Berkeley Place is the other place I used to live, right up the street here. Not a bad street to live on. In an apartment that faced south, so I got sunlight, which is key. Now we're in the named cross streets. Before we were in the numbered streets that increase as you go south. Now the cross streets all have names. This is Lincoln Place. Outdoor dining area set up here in the street. Try to help the businesses. Right here at Sterling, I'll tell you the story here. In long before I lived here, in 1960, it was in December, and I think it was snowing, or there was snow on the ground, and at this building a plane crashed into the building. It was like one United Airlines plane crashed into a TWA plane, and they crashed over, they ran into each other over Staten Island. The one plane, the TWA plane, crashed in Staten Island, killing everybody. And the United plane struggled for like a mile and a half, and it got here and it crashed, and it killed 6 people on the ground. So in total of more than 100 people died. So it was horrific. And the United plane was from Chicago, and there was one boy from 11-year-old boy from Wilmette who managed to survive till the following day, but who then succumbed. So anyway, you'd never know. I doubt that there's a plaque. I don't see one. Anyway, we'll take a side street here. Let's take Sterling down to 5th, and that's where I'll It'll be the last main street I show you. See, some brownstones are still stuck in next to apartment buildings, which is a unique look. I always root for the brownstones. These are 2 and 3 level with the stoops. A lot of times underneath the stoop is an access to a separate apartment. It's like half above ground. Nice old garage turned into a unit. Another beautiful Romanesque style church. You can pick any street you want in Park Slope, walk up and down it, and it'll give you the same experience. It's a great neighborhood just to take a walk through. It's so quiet here compared to New York in general, or Flatbush Avenue, which we crossed. Get ideas for different kinds of doors. Doors are key. Now, 5th Avenue used to be desolate, with no businesses or hardly anything really alive, and it came back. So it's now a thriving commercial district, or it's much more thriving than it used to be. This building could use another paint job, but it has a bicycle shop, big bicycle shop, which are very in demand these days. People are fixing their bikes up or riding city bike like I am to avoid having to ride the subway or the buses. So we'll see if that continues on into the winter. Good chance it can. We're all becoming more hardy souls, eating outdoors, biking. This street used to have an elevated subway line over it, and my dad, one time when he came back here, I was telling him about 5th Avenue and how it was making a comeback, and he said, "Oh Bill, how could it come back? It's got an elevated subway line over it." And I said, "It used to have an elevated subway line?" And he said, "It's not there anymore?" So I thought that was a good New York story. Yeah, they've removed some of the elevated subway lines in New York, actually a lot, but there's still some, particularly in the Bronx, but also other parts of the city, including Brooklyn. All right, we'll go with the light. This is Barclay Center, right at the end of 5th Avenue, where the Brooklyn Nets play and the New York Islanders still play, although they were going to move back to Long Island. There's Shake Shack across the street, Chick-fil-A, very popular. And then that's downtown Brooklyn, on your way to the Brooklyn and Manhattan bridges. And this is the front of Barclay Center with this Oculus, and it's become an iconic place in Brooklyn, even though it's only 8 or 9 years old. It was opened in 2011, but it still looks new, even though it's using the rusted style architecture, which is meant, by the way, to pay homage to the brownstones of Brooklyn. That's why it's brown, which I thought was a neat thing. And this is the main subway station where people come out and go right straight into the arena, and it shows you all the subway lines that serve here, and there are other ones in the area. So Brooklyn is very well served by the subway. All right, that'll do it. Thanks for joining me, and I'll show you a little bit snippet of what it looks like when it's monsooning here later to end the video. Thanks for joining me. Here's what the storm system is supposed to look like coming up from the South Atlantic. And it's starting to rain. Still going to try to get some construction work done, some concrete poured. But this afternoon it's supposed to have winds up to 40 miles an hour, gusting up to close to 60 miles an hour, and it's already starting to pond here. So this is just the start of the storm. So the weather changed here in Brooklyn, but it's still a great place to walk around. All right, thanks for joining me. See you in the next video.